Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be a speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Every series has its best, the cream of the crop, the elite, the all-stars. The Bluegrass iRacing series brings theirs to Bristol Motor Speedway this evening in an all-out, non-points bragging rights brawl. Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter this evening. I've just got Joe Donahue at the moment joining me on the call this evening. Trey Shuttlesworth on social media coverage. I am Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race from the virtual Bristol, Tennessee. You know, this is certainly one interesting way to open things up here, Joe, because, well, we joined into practice here this evening, and we didn't have too many cars. Looks like a lot of guys getting a head start on their off-season vacation, their off-season festivities. And so we only had a couple of cars in here when we came in and we joined the session. Scott Fritz and Nick Mills were the first into the practice session. Then we eventually get Jack Bauer, Daniel Worthington, and then a very late entry of a very interesting proportion, if you will, in Noah Carmichael. And you might know that name from commentating with us on these Wednesday nights for the Bluegrass iRacing Series. He said he won't take the transfer spot if he ends up transferring in from the LCQ, which is going to be a 50-lap race, sending two drivers into the All-Star race ultimately. But Noah Carmichael has entered the race, and yeah, it's interesting.
Absolutely, and Noah's been a very dedicated member of our group to this series throughout the course of the season. Obviously, he's been putting a lot of effort into it as a broadcaster. He's trying to work on writing his writing articles and such, and he's just made this series his baby more or less over the course of the season to bring the excitement to streams around the internet here for everybody to enjoy. And the idea, just to put another car out on the track, make it a little more interesting and fun for everybody else. And I think, if anybody, Noah would deserve a opportunity to race with these guys that he's been helping out with, trying to keep this series going and trying to make it something special in terms of broadcasts. So I'm really excited to see Noah going out there. He gets a little aggressive. I've raced with him before, and I know that he could get a little aggressive here. I hope he doesn't do anything crazy. Just excited. It's going to be really cool. The last chance qualifier, obviously, we're sending somebody to the All-Star race with this, so there are high stakes on the line here for all these drivers. Having Noah there, I think that's going to be a really interesting component of this event.
Dang, the call out there between buddies. But these guys getting out on the racetrack, getting their first couple of times down. Going to begin with Nick Mills. He puts his first lap on the clock. It's a 14.692, so provisionally on the pole. We'll see how Jack Bauer does in his 2-lap qualifying effort. These guys going to take their 2-lap qualifying times as per usual, nothing different there. But then, as I mentioned, they're going into a 50-lap LCQ, last chance qualifier, to hopefully join these drivers who have locked themselves in throughout the season, being the top 10 in points, winning races, winning poles. This is your all-star field. Joshua Abbey, Nicholas Naugle, Brandon Robertson, Tyler Johnson, Matt Grenier, John Kinder, Travis Miller, your series champion, Adam Lancaster, Wyatt Brackett, Justin Winters, Wes Wiggand, Ed Osborne, and Nathan Maurer.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have raced their way into this one, whether they were in the top 10 in points or victorious throughout the course of the season. I don't know if we're going to get every single driver on the list yet, quite or not. We'll have to see when the time comes how many of them we have lined up, and obviously we will include the winner of the last chance qualifying race here in this group as well when the green flag drops for the all-star race. But these guys have just put up a great show throughout the course of the season. They've done their work, they've got their performances, they've won their races, they've gotten their respective top 5s and top 3s. We've talked to a bunch of them throughout the season as well. These guys have just been working and grinding throughout all 12 races to try to get to the point where they had a solid championship finishing result. And here they are, and they get a little bit of no points, just all out racing for fun. Although, Andrew, there is a prize on the line. Is that correct?
That there is, and one of the first prizes, of course, is that if my bad, my brain just completely blanked, but I'm literally reading this straight from Jason Collins. You get $20 and a chance to move into the main if you win this race. Obviously, if you win this race, you get to move on. If you are the leader at halfway at the end of 25 laps, you move on. And then I believe it's a $100 payout to the All-Star race winner. I'm going to have to double-check on that. But I do believe we are racing for $25 this evening. So just adding to the prizes that these guys have raced for all season long. But we've got Waterford, Pennsylvania's Scott Fritz on the racetrack right now in the UNOH number 100. Now you'll notice his number is slid back to match that of the real NASCAR All-Star race cars that did that at Bristol earlier this year in July. It's interesting to me, actually, that to learn that Scott Fritz is from Waterford, Pennsylvania, because he is a student at UNOH, the University of Northwestern Ohio, but he's studying, of course, a little ways away from home in Lima, Ohio, and, well, he goes to P3 on the board so far. Noah Carmichael has not qualified yet.
Yeah, Noah, I don't know if Noah's deciding whether or not he wants to be part of the qualifying effort or if he wants to start from the rear. He's the type of guy who would want to do that kind of thing just for the fun of it, to start from the rear. I didn't know, actually, about Scott Fritz being from Pennsylvania. That's pretty cool. That's where I'm from. It's also where our media man, Trey, is from. We're both repping the PA posse as well, so it's pretty cool for Scott Fritz to be going to UNOH. Obviously, a lot of people know the University of Northwest Ohio is very well known amongst motorsports, and especially with NASCAR, I think, for their motorsports opportunities in the program they have to help people get into jobs in the motorsports field. Obviously, also running the Lima Land circuit, which is also a free content available racetrack on iRacing for 2. So that's pretty cool.
I'm going to interrupt you here real quick because Noah Carmichael has finally got on the racetrack. Here we go. And he's got the Kmart Blue Light Special Machine out and ready to rumble here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll see how he does in his qualifying effort. I actually don't know Noah's hometown. I believe he's from the state of Florida. We do actually have some hometown information, though, on some of these drivers. Mentioned that Scott Fritz is from Waterford, Pennsylvania, Jack Bauer from Sacramento, California, and Nick Mills from London, Kentucky. Not so sure about the 113 machine of Daniel Worthington. And We'll see, the first time for Noah Carmichael, 3/10 off of Daniel Worthington in 4th place. We'll see where he goes here on his second lap.
So Noah Carmichael, actually, I have the information on this. Noah Carmichael is originally from the Indianapolis, Indiana area. I can't see the time right here for Noah Carmichael quite yet. So we got a 15.196 out of Noah now. So yeah, so Noah's he's just having some fun. I don't really know what else to say about him. He's
turning this into his practice session right here. He's just running lap after lap after lap, getting some practice laps down since he joined in so late. He was such a last-minute entry. So, hey, this is, I guess, as good a practice as any.
Absolutely, and I cannot believe it is just so Noah to have a blue light special Kmart car out on this track, but I love it. I'm all for it. Very excited to see him racing with the rest of these guys. And I think it'll also be a really cool way to show the competition that not only that these drivers have amongst themselves, but the abilities of somebody else to come in, because these guys are looking for season 2, and surely they're going to want to try to expand and bring more people in and all that. So kind of a good show and a good example of what it can take to be involved.
And look at it this way, they have to be fast here. They can't let Noah come in and rule the roost. Of course, we say a whole lot about the way these guys race through each of our broadcasts. That's our job. But, man, you throw us on the racetrack, and we might not be able to hold up. He does qualify 4th place of 5 cars. We'll go right down our starting grid this evening for the All-Star Race LCQ. So this is much like the Open that they have in the NASCAR Cup Series. Starting on pole, it is Nick Mills with a time of a 14.692, a little bit slower on his second lap, losing a couple hundredths of a second, but the London, Kentucky driver putting it on pole for the last chance qualifier. It's going to be Scott Fritz. It looks like, actually that's interesting. The times I have put Jack Bauer on the outside. You know why? Qualifying hasn't ended yet. Ha ha. It's, man. I heard cars go away, and we're used to that just being the end of qualifying. So you know what? We'll hold off on that then. Let's find another thing to talk about. We'll talk about the weather here at Bristol. 84 degrees thereabouts, 85-degree track temperature. This concrete here at Bristol really doesn't take as much of the heat as the asphalt tracks that you might see. It, of course, being a lighter surface, it reflects some of that heat back, some of that light back out into the atmosphere. I'm interested that even though we are getting down to nighttime, it's not warmer because, of course, you would think the track would retain some residual heat, especially with a lot of the laps that have been run so far in practice, even just with a handful of cars. There's actually a pretty worked-in groove around the corners.
Absolutely, you're right about that. And I also want to mention some more of the material science behind why the track isn't quite as warm as an asphalt track. Not only is the color a major factor in the convection of heat, but also the fact that concrete is much smoother on a surface. There's less surface area, and therefore there's less surface area for the heat to be passing through and entrapping in the actual material itself. So just a little bit of nerd talk for you to keep that one going forward, because obviously I am a big time dork. I'm an engineer and I love it, but some cool stuff. Ed, hey, let's stop talking about that, because that's not really interesting to anybody else except.
Well, hey, it was a little bit interesting to me. I just learned something that I didn't know. I was just talking, really, just out of my hat here, trying to find something to talk about the racetrack. But we do have 5 cars that have gridded up, and we're leading off with Nick Mills. There we go, with Jack Bauer to his outside. And that's a beautiful 48 car. I wish it had done better this afternoon at Texas Motor Speedway, but Jimmy Johnson's motor did expire. Just a big shout out to Noah Sweet, Lefty Designs, for designing that beautiful 48. I'm looking forward to hopefully ordering one of those die-casts because it looks so good. One of the better, if not the best, iteration of any Ally 48 this season. Scott Fritz on the inside of row number 2. Noah Carmichael to his outside. And we've commentated races with Noah in them before, but only in Indy cars back in the IORL, the International Online Racing League, this previous summer. So interesting to see him out here in a stock car. Daniel Worthington brings up the caboose. He will start 5th place in our LCQ. It's been a very long season of racing, Joe, and we had you and Noah along for most of it. I think Noah might have been there for just about every single broadcast, even more than myself. It was a great season of racing as well. We had moments that were worth turning into highlight reels every single race, it seemed like, all the way from Daytona through to Kentucky. That 400-miler, it was exciting throughout, be it for strategy or that amazing finish where Travis Miller made that last lap, last corner pass to secure his championship. Nick Mills looking to come out of the final corner, though, and take the first green flag of the evening, and he does exactly that. We're already green here from Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race LCQ.
Yeah, Nick Mills got a great jump off of that start there. You see Scott Fritz pulled up into second behind him. No, Carmichael running in the third position. Jack Bauer fell back quite a bit off that start from the outside of the front row there. So Nick Mills just going to run away with this, and they're going to probably train race for a little while. 50 laps and 5 cars. I wouldn't expect them to be all bunched up the entire time, but for the moment, they're spaced out pretty nicely. Nick Mills leading the way through turns 1 and 2 once more.
So you see, of course, a lot of empty space there on our ticker. That's because we only have 5 cars in this LCQ. Most of the rest of the cars you'll see this evening, of course, are already locked into the All-Star race. So, just to refresh, the leader at the completion of 25 laps, the first half winner of this one, if you will, stage 1 winner, if you will, moves straight on to the race later on. He is locked in. Doesn't matter who it is out of these 5 unless it's Noah Carmichael. So Nick Mills is currently leading. If he's the leader at the completion of lap 25, these guys will throw a caution flag. He parks the car. He's done. He's good to go for the evening. If Scott Fritz can get there, though, he moves on immediately. Then, at the completion of lap 50, at the end of this LCQ, the leader then also moves on, and they're each getting, as Noah Carmichael is at a moment. He is slow on the bottom side of the racetrack. Big issues for our broadcaster, Noah. We'll see if he can get back into this thing at some point. Nick Mills continues to lead. As I was beginning to mention, though, we have prizes via Ghostface Brewing Company and Rims 1. I believe Rims 1 giving out the first $20 bonus to our halfway leader, and then the overall winner of this race also gets $20 from Ghostface Brewing Company.
Yeah, we love that. That's really awesome that they sponsor this and they offer that prize to these drivers. It really gives them motivation to continue fighting throughout the course of the event, and then obviously to continue over the course of the season to do that for these guys. We really appreciate that, and I know the guys running the Bluegrass iRacing Series really appreciate it as well. Ghostface Brewing down in now I'm not a North Carolina boy, but I'm pretty sure that's Mooresville for them. So yes, sir. So obviously, if you're from the Charlotte, Mooresville area, wherever you may reside, or even if you go down to visit, or if you're crazy and you just want to go there for the sake of it, no matter where you're from, like maybe, I would, maybe. But obviously, go check them out. We really are appreciative of their supporting of this series, obviously for the guys who actually run it, and then for us as well to be able to commentate it. We appreciate them doing this for the drivers. It means a lot, and it's really cool, just a cool thing to do. If I'm ever in the Mooresville, North Carolina area, you know where to find me in the evening. I will be right there trying out their selection of beers, eating their good food, and having a good time.
And really good pizza as well. Really good pizza. I actually hope to go there tomorrow for lunch. I think that's the plan. I'm trying to get David Levine to go along with, actually. But not just about Ghostface Brewing Company, but also Rims 1. As Scott Fritz pounds the wall there at the center of 1 and 2. Nick Mills still leading this thing. He's got a 3-second lead here over Jack Bauer. Scott Fritz has been overtaken by that 48 car. You saw the pass live on your screen here. But also Rims 1, you can go in there, and there is just it's mostly for trucks, I will say. It's mostly for pickup trucks, but there is a wide selection of any kind of shoes you may want to fit to your motor vehicle. I'm talking about, of course, rims. It's in their name, Rims 1. I've been in there a few times myself, actually, on delivery runs, and it's actually a pretty darn cool place. They've got a lot to check out, so you should definitely check them out online and in person if you're in the Mooresville area. Lap 15, just about in the books here of 50. There it is. Nick Mills. I keep trying to say Noah Mills because I'm so on this Noah Carmichael thing. Nick Mills leads lap 15. He's led every single lap so far, and he's looking like he is going to be the first driver to lock himself in as a transfer to our All-Star race.
Yeah, he's looking clean right now. Obviously he's looking very good right now. You got to be careful. Don't want to give him the commentator curse, obviously, for Nick Mills. Now you got me doing it too. I almost called him Noah Mills. Yeah, you don't want to call him in too early, but no, Nick. Oh gosh, I did it again. Nick Mills. Nick Mills. Oh, he looks like he will slid out of the corner a little bit, but yeah, he's running really smooth, and I'm really glad to see these guys trying their best to. Obviously, they're going to want to pick it up a little bit. Scott Fritz, Daniel Worthington, and Noah Carmichael to try to get into those transfer positions and get the $20 payout. But for the moment, everybody's just keeping it clean and trying to kick away these laps.
And hey, we want to say hello to David and Wyatt Brackett out of the great state of Maine. Wyatt's in the All-Star race here in a little bit, but David, I believe, could not make the drive down back home. I'm not sure what the situation is there, but I believe just work or something keeping him out of the LCQ that we're watching right now, as Nick Mills has 5 laps to go, this time by the flag stand, to transfer himself into the All-Star. And that number 8 car looking pretty good, and it's great for him as well to be able to exercise some speed in that number 8 and really show that he is a good driver. And he's just had a bit of a rough season. I mean, he had a really rough go this time around, beginning all the way back at Daytona International Speedway. The season just never really righted for the number 8 car. Glad that he is turning that around right now, though, and he's led this entire thing. And I think it comes down to the fact that he qualified on pole, so that's going to be so important for these guys later on as well, to just make sure they qualify really well and use that start to their advantage. He passes Daniel Worthington there on the backstretch. He puts him 1 lap down. So now Carmichael is not alone. Lap 24 now of 52 laps to go here for Nick Mills to transfer on.
Yeah, Nick Mills has struggled this season. He's had some ups and downs throughout the course of it, but he has shown speed, and he's showing right now that he does have what it takes to continue fighting with the rest of them here in this Bluegrass iRacing series. He's going to come to the line here, and very clean running for Nick Mills. He's going to get himself into the next one. You see him coming down the backstretch again, but your man, number 8, Nick Mills, is going to be passing it forward and going into the All-Star race.
And there's the caution. It looked like he lifted there as he took lap 25 and actually gave up some time to Jack Bauer, almost like he pulled a Mark Martin almost, which did happen here at Bristol, where Mark pulled it in 1 lap early. And certainly not what you want to do if you're Nick Mills out there. These guys are going to have a slightly shorter run to the end, and actually Nick Mills pulling it down the front stretch pit road. I don't think it's going to matter. Obviously, he's been scored with that win, but that is a no-no. You see that blue line across the racetrack there. Oh, are these guys? These guys aren't leaving now, are they? There we go.
They
Just
look
waiting
like
on the
they're all
pace
lining
car.
up here.
Yeah,
here we go.
Jack scared me there for a second. I saw him slow way down, and then his car disappeared. He blinked out for a second. I thought he was going to leave the race. They are going to opt to come in and get tires. I was going to mention, I'm wondering if they're going to come in and get... Oh. I think they're trying to figure out if the pit road was closed right there, but I'm actually interested by this call to come in and take tires right here for these guys, because track position is king, but then again, it's a 4-car race. They also could have left those 2 cars, Noah Carmichael and Daniel Worthington, 1 lap down, of which it looks like Noah Carmichael is going to get the free pass. Daniel Worthington will have to wait for the wave round and not have tires here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
he's been waved around. Okay. So I think they are just resetting these 2 and getting the mech onto the lead lap regardless.
So that's really awesome to see them putting that together. Actually, I think Worthington was in front of Carmichael, so if somebody's going to get the free pass, it would be the 113. But if they give them the pass and let them come back around, that'll be really awesome for, at least for Noah and Daniel, to catch back up. As for Bauer and Fritz, Jack Bauer, I'm not quite sure, Bauer was the one that made the decision first. He was the second place car when the caution flag came out. And then obviously Scott Fritz would be reacting to the 48 coming down pit road to get tires, because Scott Fritz is the one looking from the outside in, being in second place after that, and with Jack Bauer leading in. So he's going to have to do what Jack Bauer does and get new tires, get some fresh rubber if he's going to want to try to keep up with the 48. And obviously, yeah, Noah and Daniel were in a little bit of a tough situation there, but so long as everything gets put back and they reset the scoring, those 2 would be very lucky and very fortunate to be able to continue competing for this transfer spot. But we'll have to see what happens here. And we're looking at Scott Fritz, and we're not looking at Jack Bauer, actually. Where's Jack Bauer at?
Well, Jack Bauer is, I think, still working through some connection issues. Yeah, he's having some problems. And this actually ties right into what I was going to talk about here, Joe, because there is Hurricane Zeta moving its way into Louisiana, keeping Chris Bourgeois out of the field this evening. And this is not the first time, unfortunately, that he's had to miss a Bluegrass iRacing Series event due to a tropical storm. I wish him the best, and hopefully he gets through this thing safely. And if you are in the way of Hurricane Zeta, make sure you get to safety as well. Do everything you can to make sure you stay safe this weekend. It's going to be rough. I know it's headed up here this way to North Carolina as well. I think it's just going to glance Statesville, so I'm not in too much of worry, but anybody in its path, believe me, it's better to just be a little too safe than to end up being sorry in all of this. It could be a rough one. We'll see how it all goes here going into our Halloween weekend. Going into things, speaking of, we're going into our second portion of our event this evening, or our first of two events, technically, our LCQ. You see these guys take the green flag at a turn number 4. This is where we get to see these guys really go at it here for the second transfer spot. Scott Fritz, the race leader, he gets a big jump over everybody else here. Noah Carmichael up into second.
Yeah, Noah's just been trying to feel it out. Obviously, like we said when they were qualifying, Noah was trying to put in some practice laps during the qualifying session because that was the best he could do. And you see, he's starting to figure it out a little bit. He got past Jack Bauer there on the restart. He's running in second place. It looks like these guys are actually gaining on Scott Fritz right now, so it'd be pretty impressive if the Blue Light Special got up there and start challenging the number 100 car. Out of the corners, it looks like Noah turned a little bit more momentum out of the corner. And obviously, you can see how much time he's making up going into the corners, that he's diving in there much faster than number 100 right now.
And again, want to remind you guys, this is just the LCQ. That's why there's only 5 cars on the racetrack. Well, 4 now. This is just a transfer into the All-Star race this evening. So if you're just joining us, that's why you only see a few cars on the racetrack. And Noah Carmichael in the 66, he usually commentates with us. He is out here just racing to have some fun. He gets a chance to kind of celebrate the fact that we've had a great season here at the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Get out and see what he can do. And right now, he's looking like he just might get 2 and try and work around Scott Fritz. A bit sideways there out of turn 4, Joe, but the 66 is starting to turn pretty good.
Yeah, you see, it got up into the wall a little bit there in turns 1 and 2, but he really dives in much faster than the 100 machine, and I think it does actually end up biting him on the straightaways because he doesn't seem to be significantly cutting into that lead that the 100 car's got right now. Jack Bauer, I don't know if Jack Bauer feels that he's getting held up or whatnot behind Noah. I don't know how Jack Bauer, you see Jack Bauer comes out of the corners kind of in the same place on the track as Scott Fritz does, where they go in and then cut at the end of the corner like that. He didn't really do it that much as I tried to explain what was going on. But Noah, I don't know, they're actually holding on pretty well. There you see the cut that Jack Bauer made out of turn 4, but they're holding on to each other pretty well right here. Oh, the 100 hit the wall a little bit right there.
And these guys just trying to find some different lanes on the racetrack, find different lines, braking points and such. What I'm interested about Noah Carmichael is, you say he's definitely diving into the corner harder, but he's actually still chipping away, I feel like, more often than not at the 100. It's just he's made a couple of mistakes, I think, notably out of turn 4 a few laps ago, got the wall down the front stretch, and that has really held him up. But he actually, when he makes those big dives like that, he does lose a little bit more time on exit, but he gains more than he loses on entry. So it's interesting about Noah that earlier in this run, actually, he was starting to really make some big gains. We'll see if he can still do that here as Scott has made some trips up to the fence. Oh, and Noah grabs it right there out of turn 4. Jack Bauer has been kind of working on the 66 as well, and Jack was really quick there at the end of that first little stage. 25 laps at Bristol, not a very long time, but still enough time for these tires to change how they handle.
Yeah, I was just about to say that about tires. Is one thing, if Noah's going to drive into that corner so much harder, he's going to use those tires up and burn them out much quicker than Scott Fritz does, and I think that might be starting to play into how the 66 car is driving right now, because Jack Bauer still, he hit the wall one more time. Oh, look out! And he's in the wall pretty good.
That's a hard one, too.
The turn again. Yeah, that was a rough one for Noah, but he's just trying to stay off of Jack Bauer. I think more than anything else, he doesn't want to wreck Jack Bauer, because Jack's still racing for the $20 and the transfer to the main. And Noah's just kind of out here having a good time. So certainly he doesn't want to do any harm to Jack Bauer's race here. But Scott Fritz gapped him pretty good, because I do think that Noah ran through his tires a little quickly there.
Yeah, Scott Fritz has got a second and a third. Oh, that diminished actually at that time to the front stretch. Oh, and he gets the wall pretty hard there, does Scott Fritz. Waterford, Pennsylvania's driver in the number 100. He's starting to get up there, and if this is a dirt track, he'd be jumping the cushion a little bit. And he's just got right into the wall a couple of times in the center of the corner. It's really bit him. There he does it again. Now, you can do that, and it can help you if you do it right, and it's kind of frowned upon by some in the iRacing community. But if you get up there and you hit the wall in the center of the corner just right, it can actually help you a little bit. I think he might be kind of allowing the car to do that, but he's hitting it too hard.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about that because we saw it in the first running here with Nick Mills leading the way, and then Scott Fritz and Jack Bauer as well in the first 25 laps looked like they were getting into the wall a little more often than I would say we'd want to do. The top side of the racetrack here where you see Jack Bauer will ride on board with him into the corner, and the way they're running right at the very edge of that blackened area of rubber acts kind of in the same way as a groove, I would think, or as a cushion on dirt, where you get a little bit more grip on that high side of there, because the rubber would definitely be building up at that point. But the rest of them, I don't know. This whole thing of hitting the wall, I'm wondering if they're trying to, or if the track's just slicked out right now.
It's definitely just the way that you have to run Bristol here on iRacing.com. It just kind of happens. Oh, we have a yellow flag. Noah Carmichael has gone around. This changes everything. And we'll, of course, see what happens to trouble our fellow commentator here. Out of turn 2, he just pops the wall and goes for a header into the inside wall. That's a pretty tough hit. If we had a soft body damage model, the whole front of that car would be destroyed.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Noah. He was just running, having a good time, and obviously he came out of the corner and, bopped that wall pretty good. And, actually, so it looks like he hit the wall in the middle of the corner, and then as he came out of the corner again, he slid up too high, hit the wall, and just got a little bit cattywampus. Lost control, hit the inside wall, unfortunately caused the yellow. And I was wondering if we would see a yellow at all, if we would actually have a reset, if you will, for the final couple laps of this event. That's definitely going to make this way more interesting.
Well, now we get that chance. We get to see what these guys can do here on some old tires. I'm interested that nobody's opting to come in and get some tires. I would imagine we'll be able to extend this race and get a clean restart of 2 laps in, but really surprised we haven't seen takers yet under this caution period. And I imagine, considering they haven't pitted yet, they aren't going to pit at all. Very curious decision there. I would have thought these guys would want some tires here at the end of this LCQ, especially for Jack Bauer. Granted, he tended to have speed on the longer run, and he was even starting to make inroads on that lead to Scott Fritz. Still, I think if you're second place, especially if Scott stays out right there, absolutely come in, get some tires.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, and especially with how few cars there are. If you come in and get fresh tires, even if you're the only one who does it, you come out and you're one row behind the leaders.
Oh, you know what it is? Actually, I'm going to cut in. We might be coming to the end of the session here, time-wise. I'm curious about that as well. Maybe Jason's watching along and can educate us there. I know ATVO is showing we're coming close to a time limit, possibly. Not totally certain there, but really quickly, while we wait on that, let's thank some of our partners here, the Bluegrass iRacing Series, Rims 1, and Ghostface Beer Lab and Brewing Company. And my brain stopped, but as I mentioned, Rims 1, wheels, tires, accessories, they actually have a pretty wide variety of what you can get over there, and I think most of them are intended for pickup trucks, but there's still some pretty cool stuff over there. Even if you don't have one, you should definitely check them out. If you are in the Mooresville, North Carolina area, and the Ghostface Beer Lab and Brewery, that's a pretty cool place for me to get a pizza. You can also go and grab some beer, as it says in the name there. And I've heard nothing but good things about Ghostface. I've never heard a bad thing about the place, and very much look forward to working with them much more in the future, maybe even going there for some lunch tomorrow afternoon. We're going to get restarted here before this thing is over. Scott Fritz leads us back to the green flag.
Scott Fritz got a nice jump off that restart. Jack Bauer fell off a little bit, but like you said, under the caution, Andrew, Jack Bauer does seem to be gaining slowly on Scott Fritz. Maybe his car has a little bit better long run tendencies to it right now. He drove off that corner pretty nicely, actually stuck it up there with Scott Fritz. Obviously, if you guys were watching the ticker under yellow, you saw that there were not laps getting counted off. So the yellow laps did not count, and this one's just going to go from 4 laps to go at the resuming of the restart. Obviously, we're coming to the white flag this time. There's going to be 1 lap to go. Jack Bauer all over the tail of Scott Fritz coming out of turn 2. He's got a nice run here maybe for the backstretch.
Oh, and Scott blocks the slide jump on the bottom side. Can Jack turn underneath him? He hits him out of turn 4. They're going to... Oh, my! I don't even know what that was. I was going to call it as a drag race at first. We watched it from Jack Bauer's onboard. He couldn't quite get there. That was a great move from Scott Fritz to defend the slide job on the bottom side. I think Jack would have tried to turn down underneath him if he didn't. It works out for him. Jack just hits him in the bumper cover, and that's that. Scott Fritz hangs on to get $20 and move on to our All-Star race. Also worth mentioning, I've been informed that via a tie for points between Daniel Worthington and Joshua Abbey, and the fact that Joshua Abbey cannot make it to tonight's race, the All-Star race, Daniel Worthington will take his position by default pretty much, and that really changes things up. So really, it ended up being a battle just for Jack Bauer to get in, and unfortunately, he's the one car that we're cutting from this thing.
Well, you saw off of turns 3 and 4, Jack Bauer got a heck of a great run going into the turn, and he carried it through the corner. Scott Fritz could definitely see out of his rearview mirror that Bauer was coming, and if you watched that as they came through turn 4, Fritz seemed like he slowed up a little bit just so that he could hold the bottom line, because when Bauer came into the corner, he kind of diamonded the corner. So he came up in the middle and was going to try to drive it back down to the bottom out of turn 4 to try to get down the inside of the 100 car. And Scott Fritz saw that and reacted accordingly, obviously, to stay down low, kind of blocked where Jack Bauer was going to try to put his car. And that's why Bauer got into the rear of Scott Fritz as well, surely, and then out of the corner. Just nothing he could do down the stretch and to the line. Scott Fritz held him back. So tough break for Jack Bauer, because he really did do what he needed to do to get to a position where he could get back into the race lead and advance out of this one.
So then, Nick Mills and Scott Fritz will advance through the LCQ and win $20 apiece for winning their respective portions of the LCQ here this evening, the last chance qualifier, to advance to the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star race. But Daniel Worthington will also move on by default, basically from a point standings tie. So the tiebreaker would have gone to Joshua Abbey. Joshua cannot make it this evening, so it goes to Daniel Worthington. I think that's a pretty cool deal there. In fact, those two being teammates, I think just works out even better. So it works out for Daniel Worthington, but even though he's advancing, he doesn't actually get the $20, of course, because he didn't win either portion of this last chance qualifier. You see the results there on the left side of your screen. We'll pull them up on the results page itself here as well. Scott Fritz actually just had a really good car there at the end. Jack Bauer almost got to, well, he got to him, Joe, just couldn't get around him.
Yeah, like I said, Bauer really tried to run it through that corner, kind of diamond shape it, get a nice run off of it, and drag race down the front stretch to get past that 100 car. But Scott Fritz definitely knew what was going on and was able to react accordingly to keep hitting the 100 car in the transfer spot and get that $20, and to see him coming to the All-Star race, which we will be bringing to you shortly. But all the credit in the world to Jack Bauer, because he knew exactly what he had to do, and he drove aggressively. He's one of the aggressive drivers of this series. We've talked about that throughout the course of the season for that number 48 car, and sporting a very beautiful livery as well tonight. It's a tough break to see him go, but Scott Fritz did pull off the move he needed to. He knew what he needed to do. He executed. He drove a good race, and he was there at the end, and that's what's important. That's what gets you moving forward.
And let's quickly go back to the drivers that are locked in. You see Joshua Abbey on that list, sponsored by Primetime Sports Talk. It has been brought down the grapevine to us that he cannot make the race this evening. Daniel Worthington will take his spot. But everybody else on this list is accurate. We're also adding, of course, Nick Mills and Scott Fritz, who transfer on by winning their respective portions of this last chance qualifier. Nicholas Naugle, Brandon Robertson, Tyler Johnson, Matt Grenier, John Kinder, Travis Miller, Adam Lancaster, Wyatt Brackett, Justin Winters, Wes Wigand, Ed Osborne, and Nathan Maurer will all compete here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race. An amazing lineup of drivers, and definitely I think most of the drivers that we talked about all season long. Everybody who made headlines, they're in this all-star race. It's going to be great to watch these guys truly go at it for this all-star event. We'll be joining you once again shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue our coverage into that portion of the evening. Right after this, we'll take our little post-race break. We'll be right back to you with coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
We welcome you back to Bristol Motor Speedway. You see cars already on the racetrack. We're quickly just going to roll right down our starting grid. Because of that LCQ running a bit late, we've already missed qualifying. Brandon Robertson puts it on the pole for the All-Star race. You've got Wyatt Brackett to his outside out of the great state of Maine. Row number 2 gives you Matt Grenier and Adam Lancaster, 3rd and 4th. 5th place on your starting grid, it's John Kinder. Justin Winter's going to start in 6th. From 7th position, it's Travis Miller, the series champion. Nicholas Naugle in 8th in the 08. 9th spot, it's Nick Mills, who transfers out of the LCQ. Wes Wigand makes it good for 10th position. In 11th, it's going to be Scott France. Daniel Worthington transferring into 12th spot for the All-Star. And that's our 12-car grid. Just 12 cars here at Bristol, but it's all we need for an All-Star race. We're ready to get going here. We just saw a great LCQ, and we have one of those drivers back in the booth with us, as per usual, Noah Carmichael. It was an interesting little run for you there, but man, it was something, I suppose. And we'll at least get through the start here, and then we'll talk to you about that one, Noah. But it was good to see you out there in the blue light special number 66. Sad that you aren't out here with these 12 guys, because it would have fit right in as they get ready to go racing for the All-Star event. We got a 50 lap. It's technically scored as a heat here on the iRacing sim, but it's just the first segment of this All-Star event. These guys already ready to go green flag racing. Brandon Robertson leading us to the green flag. Waiting. The green flag flies, and we're right to it here at Bristol.
Robertson now out with the early lead going into turn number 1. Grenier going to slide up there into the 2nd spot. Wyatt Brackett falls back, and then here comes John Kinder with a very slow start. He falls back as everyone trying to fight for that top line. As you're starting to see everyone try to make their way up there. It was mostly single file for the most part, as John Kinder is just continuing to fall through this field, as he's now fighting John Kinder back there for about the 7th position, as he is just falling like a rock. And back there is Nick Mills, Scott Fritz, Wes Wigand, Daniel Worthington, and then Justin Winters, who was apparently late to the show. He is exiting turn number 2, so a very slow start for him as Robertson leads the first laps.
Yeah, the big thing right now is to try to get up to the top side. You can see everybody single filing out and trying to just run cleanly like that. I shouldn't say cleanly, because you saw Wyatt Brackett make a little bit of a diving type move there on the outside of Grenier. It was sliding around a little bit, but with the early stages of the run starting up here, the tires are a little bit cold. Track's not quite worked in yet. Not everybody's quite ready to go. So that sort of stuff would happen. But Brandon Robertson was ready to go at the drop of the green flag, because he's pulled out a half-second lead over the number 15, already 5 laps into this.
And we already have a car about to go a lap down. That is Justin Winters up ahead. A different look for his number 88 as he's about to get lapped. Noah mentioned it looks like he was a bit late to the party. It looks like he had to start from the pit lane, and he's already in trouble to go a lap down here. Brandon Robertson up to the back end of the 88 car just about. They battle for the rest of the top 5 here. Nicholas Naugle to the inside of Adam Lancaster. Wyatt Brackett ahead of these guys. Matt Grenier in there as well.
Yeah, one of the things to realize about this is the fact that this isn't running for points, this isn't running for a championship. It's all been wrapped up. This is just to put on a show, to have some fun. If you have any sort of issue with anybody, you can take it out here as well. Get all the stuff out of your system and prepare for season 2. So these guys are just to be out here to put on a show and try to make it as interesting as they can, to try to take this win no matter what the cost, and get the money and the trophy along with it, and the bragging rights with it. You see Justin Winters just pull down to the bottom. The Naugle is just on the attack. And that's kind of how this setup runs. It's very loose. You saw Lancaster. It's very loose on the exit. It's very easy to spin the tires. I was a victim of that. And once you get into the middle of this run, it gets on rails. But towards the end of the run, it starts to fall off like a rock. So it's going to be one of the big challenges for these drivers to try and figure out, is how to get these tires to manage through the entire course of the run. Luckily, it's only 15 laps, so it shouldn't take that long. But it's going to be a very tight handle once you go to that 100-lap feature.
Yeah, as you said that, Nicholas Naugle taking a look down the inside of the number 28 of Adam Lancaster. He's going to try to pull that pass off completely. John Kinder now looking to do the same on his teammate as the 08 slid up in front of him, and they're 2 wide still behind him. But really interesting information and some good intel from our helper commentator Noah Carmichael. Being in that last chance qualifier gives us a little bit of insider information we otherwise would not have known. We're coming through lap 12 here. We'll be on lap 13. And it looks like Grenier might be starting to catch back up to Robertson. The gap is closing between those 2 cars right now, so maybe Grenier's trying to figure it out, or successfully figuring out how to get his car to run a little bit smoother. But yeah, Noah talked about the tire wear off and the ability to keep your car stuck where you want it on the racetrack, how that's going to drop off over the course of the run. Maybe that's going to play into the favor of some of these guys more than others. As you see, Lancaster got up into the wall, and John Kinder's going to go around him. Oh, we got it into the inside, and the yellow flag is going to be coming out for Adam Lancaster, who just smashed to the inside wall.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
And there's the yellow. That car is well and dinged up. The number 28 falling victim to the outside and inside walls here. Kinder just kind of made a little bit of contact when Lancaster checked up, and then he just gets more and more loose. I think just trying to recover from that. Gets clipped by Travis Miller with nowhere to go. And that number 22 car, we'll see if he has some damage out of that. It looks like he does. But thankfully, mostly to the left rear, although he's got some right front damage. And I wonder if he had that before. It looks like he did, so I don't think it's the end of the world here for Travis Miller. Certainly not what you want to have happen, though, and there's the contact. Yeah, gets him right in the rear wheels. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the handling too bad there on the number 22. Brandon Robertson, your race leader on this yellow flag here on lap 16 or so. Matt Grenier second place, Wyatt Brackett in third, Nicholas Naugle fourth, John Kinder in fifth, and we talked about some locked-in drivers earlier on. This is relatively thereabouts your field. Joshua Abbey, he has been subbed out, though, for Daniel Worthington, and we've added Nick Mills out of London, Kentucky, and Scott Fritz out of Waterford, PA. So they transferred in through that LCQ, that 50-lap race that Noah was a part of. Noah, you already mentioned kind of some of the experience that you were able to share there from that LCQ. What was it like racing with these guys?
It was entertaining, to say the least. I kind of feel the Mikey Welch trip after he runs Daytona Qualify. He should open the Aaron G machine soon and talk about that car. No, it was entertaining running with these guys. I was able to have a restart gear just with the way the setup was, and was able to get around Jack Lauer. But Scott Fritz and Nick Mills just had something with the setup, and that was just a part of the factor of I got in here late. It was just a last-ditch effort to get the Kmart Blue Light Special onto the racetrack. And my entire practice laps were my qualifying laps, and I was able to out-qualify Worthington and then just kind of learn it as I go. But the number one thing I really learned is just how the tires handle. When you're on the start, these restart gears, if you shift early, you can have a run on these guys. You can shoot on the inside. But other than that, you're going to be running that high line around the entire racetrack because it's just so hard to get the pass down on the bottom with the way this setup runs, especially towards the end of a run. This car just wants to be up there on the top, which is what you're seeing a lot of these guys do. If they're going to run that top side, obviously you see people like Naugle, like John Kinder, and others go to the bottom just to make that pass work. But other than that, the only way you're going to get around here quickly and safely and not destroy your tires in the process is by running all the way up towards the wall and kind of maybe try to pull off a little of a diamond arc. But yeah, right now what you're seeing is kind of the same stuff that I had to go through. And then the number one issue is just the early part of the run and these eggs out the corners, because it's so easy to get this car to spin the tires off the exit, and then you're just on for a ride in the inside wall, which I had to happen twice, which ended up causing a caution in the second one. So I was able to make it a little bit more entertaining in the end. But I mean, it was a lot of fun getting the Blue Light Special Boys out here. The Blue Light Boys, just entertaining, and these guys are going to do an even better job here tonight. And I just want to give a shout out to Nick Mills. You didn't really get to see it in the LCQ, but he is running a Bluegrass iRacing Series PitStop TV paint scheme that looks very stylish, and I honestly really enjoyed that car.
Absolutely, yeah. I saw that Nick Mills car. It looks really good, and it's really awesome to have this car with the Bluegrass iRacing Series on the side, and then PitStop TV too. But yeah, Noah talked about the tires and the wear off. Obviously, stock cars are pretty heavy as we're coming to the restart, and their tires are fairly small. So it's going to be interesting to see how the run goes out for the guys who don't take tires here. But Travis Miller, we'll talk about Travis Miller and how great he is at restarts. Just as he gets a great run from Brandon Robertson through the middle of the corner, but he's loose out of turn 2, and he's going to fall back into the grasp of John Kinder and Matt Grenier. At this moment in time, Grenier got stuck behind him, but John Kinder did not. Goes down the inside, sliding through the turns. So yeah, that's what Noah's talking about with the tire degradation throughout the run. It's just going to cause something like that to happen if you try to run a little bit lower line like John Kinder did right there.
Big stack ups here on this restart, just about 20 laps in now. You saw Kinder slide around. He's fallen back a couple spots now on the nose of Wyatt Brackett. Matt Grenier gave a big shot in the shorts to Brandon Robertson, and here comes the 2-car trying to pass Travis Miller this time. Can he do it into 1? No, he's going to go to the top side, try and get a run up there, maybe cut down to the inside of him out of 2. He does exactly that. John Kinder back into the fray as well. These tires starting to hook up.
Yeah, trying to pull the old switcheroos there to number 2 on the 22 as they come off turn number 4. How big of it would it be for Brandon Robertson to get the All-Star win? This was the track that took him out of the championship fight and made him have to run back there for the 4th position. So obviously he has a lot of things he wants to get off his chest here at Bristol and go take this win and say that was just a fluke, go be back next season. But Travis Miller is the champion and saying, nah, I don't think so. He's bringing the fight up on the top side. And then here comes Matt Grenier and John Kinder. John Kinder was one of the underdog, one of the dark horses going later into the season who had an incredible second half run. The Matt Grenier still looking to get that first win. So there is a lot of drivers fighting for these positions. Then how about Naugle back there in the 5th position? Had that win in Martinsville, had it taken away from him. So how great would it be for him to come take the All-Star win? He was really fast here when we were here for the Bristol race early on in the season. So he knows how to get it done around here. He just needs to get the passes done. He knows how to get it done in that 08 car.
Yeah, and as you say that, he's just making his pass on Travis Miller here, or at least trying to. But you talk about that while they were going 2 by 2 by 2 throughout this group of the top 6. They've spread out a little bit more, and Robertson's managed to put up almost about a 5-tenth of a second lead over John Kinder, who's now sitting in 2nd place. But these guys were really running tough, and there's going to be a little bit of a bump from the 08 onto Matt Grenier's tail. I'm surprised to see these guys running single or double file for as long as they were, and obviously the guys who are running on the inside are using up those tires a lot, and it's going to take a lot more effort to keep up when the high side is the way to go. So we'll see if that long-term has any effect on which of these guys is the fastest out of this top 6 right now, but they're putting up a good fight and a good show right now.
Kinder having some problems with his connection right now, and just ahead of Nicholas Naugle, Matt Grenier. Grenier loses that spot to Naugle now, and Naugle through to 3rd. He taps that wall, actually pounds that wall at center of the corner. Saw a lot of that in the LCQ as well. Grenier trying to defend from Wyatt Brackett here now as well. Travis Miller, the series champion, has fallen back to 6th position. I believe he made a 2-tire stop. Everybody else is 4-tire stop. Aside from maybe John Kinder, he might be on 2 as well. They've both got shorter pit stops. Brandon Robertson, though, starting to check out here in the first segment here for the All-Star race at Bristol. Still battling 2nd through 5th.
Yeah, with what Naugle's doing there in the last few laps, I gotta have an idea what he's doing, because I did the same exact thing. He's in the exact perfect spots and wall riding in the corner, get a little bit of a bump, and you can get that run off the corner, which allowed him to catch up to Kinder, and then it's just all on him there. And he's gonna slide up in the air side, he's gonna shove Kinder into the wall. They stay green as they're able to hold on to it, but Naugle not relentless. He's just relentless trying to catch up to him. He's now up to the 2nd spot. It is a Toyota 1-2 and a group of Mustangs and a Chevy fighting back there for 3rd as Grenier now takes over the spot. But man, Naugle is figuring out the line. He's bumping off the wall and just getting major runs off the straightaways that allows him to catch up to these guys. He's been keeping up the wall the last few laps, so maybe it was just car handling issues in the beginning there. But if we get a chance, I want to talk to you about that, because that looks like it. Whereas right now, he's trying to run down the number 2 car.
Well, I'll tell you, he was doing a pretty good job of running down Brandon Robertson, as that gap's still slowly closing between the 2 Toyotas up at the front end of the field. But watching Wyatt Brackett and John Kinder fight for position here, that is for 4th place. And finally, Wyatt Brackett pulls that pass off, and out of the corner, they're going to go back to single file racing. But yeah, like we've said, is we're now looking at Wes Wiggin, who actually looked like he got up into the wall there a little bit, going down the inside now of Nick Mills in the beautiful blue PitStop TV Bluegrass iRacing Series car there. Wes Wiggin backed up to Daniel Worthington, and it looked like Scott Fritz got up in the wall. These guys racing pretty hard. There's a lot going on right here.
There's a lot going on all over the place here as we reach about 10 laps to go. Brandon Robertson still the race leader. Oh, man, Wes Wiggin almost tagged Scott Fritz. Here's the number 2 car out of New England. He leads across to take 10 laps to go. Nicholas Naugle, 2nd place, starting to make some inroads on this lead, learning that Nicholas Naugle is out of Nova Scotia and Brandon Robertson is out of New Hampshire. So these guys, they're kind of fighting for some New England, well, not quite New England for Nova Scotia, but northeastern prowess, I suppose, here at Bristol Motor Speedway. They're trying to show which of these northeasterners is better, and actually Robertson, I think, starting to check out. Naugle was starting to make some time up, but now losing a bit of time back to the 2 car. Wyatt Brackett has fought ahead of the 15 car for 3rd.
Yeah, Wyatt Brackett having a really good run there as he sees get up in the wall there in the entry at turn number 1. He's been able to outrun Grenier. It's been a really good performance out of him here in the first portion of the All-Star races. He has just been outrunning a lot of these guys and actually looks like a potential contender to maybe take the win if he's able to keep this momentum up into the final 100 laps.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job of it right now. I also want to mention that he's also a New Englander, so we got a lot of northeastern representation going on up at the front end of this field, actually. John Kinder being the first car outside of it that is not representing the Northeast. But if we want to do a nice lead off of the Northeast, is the Northeastern Big Block Modified drivers who operate the BRP iRacing series that sponsor the number 22 machine, because I'm quite surprised that Travis Miller made that call to take 2 tires on that pit stop, but you can see how that didn't pay off for him. He's all the way down in 8th place right now, coming to the end of this first stage of this All-Star race.
Justin Winters, after his poor start, is up into 6th. He makes the pass for 5th. Goes right on by John Kinder like he's standing still. Big moves here for the 88 car. There's some more cars fighting back here. You saw it earlier with Scott Fritz and company. Scott Fritz trying to put a move here maybe on Daniel Worthington, who came through the LCQ. Travis Miller is just ahead of these guys actually racing. Adam Lancaster. Oh, some contact further back. These guys are really leaning on one another. Wes Wiggin back here. He's in 11th, and Adam Lancaster's 2 laps down in 12th spot. But Brandon Robertson's still the race leader, and he's got, a narrowing gap. Oh, a wrecking up ahead. Travis Miller and more involved. Here comes the battle for the race lead. Nicholas Naugle and Brandon Robertson. 2 laps to go in this first stage.
They are now side by side by turn number 2 that allowed a huge stack up, and now here comes the fight of the Toyotas, the fight of the Rising Sun brands as they make their way through turn number 1. Miller gonna hold up the number 08, where he's going to allow Robertson to the inside, but here they go through turns 3 and 4, as they're going to come to the white flag here for the final heat, and it's going to be on like Donkey Kong here for this last lap.
That was the last lap, but it comes down to Nicholas Naugle there for the first stage. That was incredible.
I think Brandon might have gotten him. It was so close. Your timing and scoring obviously shows Robertson.
Whoa!
John Kinder just came in like a torpedo on the 08 machine right there. Wow. It won't really matter because we're going to reset them all. But, yeah, that was holy close kebabs. Yeah, they see how close it was. But Brandon Robertson did get to the line first from Nicholas Naugle. But those 2 Toyota drivers showing some speed here, showing some serious driving skills. But, yeah, that was interesting the way Travis Miller backed that up and made it a close race to the end.
Very interesting stuff, and yeah, it was absolutely the 2 car that made it back to the line first. I don't know where I got Nicholas Naugle from. I literally in front of my face, and I still call it as the 08 car there. We're going to regrid these guys up for 100 laps here for the main event. That was technically run as a heat, but I think that was really just our first stage and just a way to kind of break things up into some segment racing here. So we will get right on into that. Beginning with our starting grid, Brandon Robertson then earns P1 here to start our 100-lap second stage, if you will. And Nicholas Naugle going to join him up there on row number 1. Roll back to row number 2. We get guys like Wyatt Brackett, Matt Grenier. How about Wyatt Brackett, actually? Where did he come from in all of this? Incredible stuff from him. I don't know where this speed came for the 33 car, but it's pretty cool to see him be so quick this evening. Matt Grenier there with him in row number 2. Row 3, Justin Winters, John Kinder. You saw that, retaliation from John Kinder. Definitely not happy with Nicholas Naugle. Roll back to 7th place is Nick Mills, Travis Miller in 8th. 9th position, rather, Daniel Worthington. Scott Fritz joins him right there in 10th spot. 11th and 12th to go to Wes Wiggin and Adam Lancaster, the Ghostface Brewing Company at number 28. A very interesting start to our evening here through the LCQ, through all of this, and actually, Brandon Robertson has not taken to the racetrack. Everybody else has. Nicholas Naugle is going to be joined at the front row then by the number 33 of Wyatt Brackett. Very interesting that Brandon Robertson did not make it to the grid. We'll see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, it's all down to Wyatt Brackett and Nicholas Naugle here on this race start, and this is just going to kick things back off for these drivers. You've seen tempers flare now. You've seen these guys really go at it, lap after lap after lap, starting side by side and staying side by side like it's parade laps for 50-some-odd laps this evening. We've seen 100 laps of racing so far. We're going to see 100 more, beginning with Wyatt Brackett and Nicholas Naugle here on this front row for the second portion of our All-Star race. They race off into one. Oh, what was that from Justin Winters? Let's the entire field go by.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to let him by there just to not get involved in an early stage wreck. So he might be trying to do a back to the front challenge like he did the first time around, as now Wyatt Brackett going to lead the first lap of the secondary heat. And then here comes Naugle trying to bring the fight back to the 33 as they race off of 2.
Brackett got a great start off of that run, and we've talked about Wyatt Brackett being consistent over the course of the season, but he hasn't had the outright speed to put his car at the front of the field like some of the other drivers have over the course of the season. This is really awesome to see him with this much speed and being able to hold on to this lead. Obviously, this race has just started for these 100 laps to get us to the end of this one, but it's pretty cool to see Wyatt Brackett running up front right now. Nicholas Naugle and Matt Grenier also running out the top 3 as the current moment.
Wyatt Brackett leading this thing. Nicholas Naugle, Matt Grenier starting to draw nearer for second and third. John Kinder there in fourth. Travis Miller in fifth. And we just learned today, actually, that Wyatt Brackett is racing out of Woolwich, Maine. We learned that from David Brackett, actually. Unfortunately, David could not make it to the LCQ to try and race his way in the number 38 car. But hey, Wyatt Brackett makes it in by virtue of his point standings. And he just ran the fastest lap of the race so far. He goes purple in this thing. And very cool to see him out here leading some laps. And hopefully he can hang on. He was looking great. Almost had a chance to win this thing in that first little 50-lap run. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wyatt's fighting for something here towards the end. Very cool stuff from the number 33 car out of Woolwich, Maine. Nicholas Naugle out of Dartmouth, one of the two, Nova Scotia, Canada. I think the only Canadian we have in the league. He's running second place, and he almost got that thing, a drag race, back to the line with Brandon Robertson. Went the way of Brandon Robertson in the 2 car, but Saco, Maine's own Matt Grenier here running in third place. So the Northeasterners really are just controlling this thing.
Yeah, Northeasterners really coming in here and showing these Southerner drivers how to do it. As right now, Brackett, Naugle, Grenier, all these guys just showing them up right now and running away with this thing. And then the league champion, Travis Miller, as well, as they race off of 2. Here comes Naugle now with the running of the peak to the inside to go side by side into turn number 3. As now John Kinder back there in fourth, still trying to get up there to the Grenier. Right now we have a fight going side by side for the race lead here at lap number 11 as they enter turn number 1.
They come through 1 and 2. Brackett got up into the wall there. You see Naugle's going to take advantage and easily get past the 33 machine. So lead change puts Nicholas Naugle's Toyota in the lead right now. John Kinder catching up to the tail of these 3. So giving a little bit of some of the Southern representation with the good old boys, bringing his number 21 machine up to the tail end of these 3 New Englanders, these 3 Yanks up front. And he's just holding on to a little bit of draft right now. Obviously, we're at Bristol and the draft isn't a huge factor, but definitely getting in behind cars in front of you is going to help you get through the corners and help you run a smooth line, maybe keep some consistency in your work as you try to just slowly kick into the lead that they're going to have over you. And then, obviously, as well, Matt Grenier looking down the inside unsuccessfully on Wyatt Brackett. But if they get side by side, that's when John Kinder's really going to be gaining a lot of time on the field.
You mentioned John Kinder, a Southerner. Not really. He's actually from Santa Ana, California, now living in Mooresville, North Carolina, and sporting rims 1 on his Ford Mustang. We've been riding on board for several laps. He's also got the Ghostface Brewing Company Beer Lab logo on his quarter panels here on the 21 that I think we've seen consistently since Darlington back in the points-paying portion of the season. I think he's on the same paint scheme all the way since back then. Travis Miller starting to get up into this grouping, and actually Nicholas Naugle got by and has really just stepped away from this field. Very surprised that Wyatt Brackett didn't quite hang with him there, and really I think starting to hold these guys up a little bit. Matt Grenier, I mean, he's there. He's knocking on the door and trying to get on by that 33 car. Just can't quite do it yet. Some of the rest of the battling throughout the field. Nick Mills, Justin Winters, Scott Fritz, and some more back here. This is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and even 10th a little ways further back. Brandon Robertson, after his start from the pit lane, well, he's 10th spot.
Yeah, this is kind of the same thing I was talking about with these tire fall-offs. You're now going towards lap 20. This is really when the understeer on that car starts to happen with these tires, because you're now on the later half of what a run really should be. But now they're going to have to hold on for a lot longer rather than having the 25 stage break. As you see, they're just big stack up. And the reason that being is if you can't get on the inside, it's so hard to pass on the inside without having the incident what we saw with John Kinder and Nicholas Naugle that put Kinder up on the wall. And if you do want an answer on what the retaliation was about, it turns out those two have had some run-ins in the past. And when I talked about this being the All-Star race, if you have issues, you don't have to worry about a championship or any points being taken away from this. You can go out there and do it. Luckily, it was after the race, so it didn't really cause too many major issues. But apparently, that was just some frustration from the season being taken out there by Kinder. Hopefully, we don't see too many more of that. As now Kinder going to try and make the pass there on Grenier as they head off of 2.
Yeah, this race has been really good between Grenier, Brackett, and Kinder now with Travis Miller getting involved too. You saw Grenier just running absolutely on the tail of Brackett for quite a while there, and then finally John Kinder got around him and now takes that second position right here behind the number 33 machine. So a really nice view off of the roof of this Red Bull sponsored number 33 that you can see now as John Kinder goes down the inside and Brackett got up into the barrier there. That's going to allow Grenier to carry some momentum on the inside and take that position as well. And Travis Miller's going to try to do the same. Grenier did not get the pass done. I don't know if he got a little loose out of the corner or something like that brought him down. But right now, Wyatt Brackett lost quite a bit of time there to John Kinder assumingly from hitting that wall like he did. And now Travis Miller's just going to try to see what he can do to get around that 33 machine as well.
These guys all just racing in a line right now. Brackett certainly, I think, slower than the rest of these three. Travis Miller wants to get on by. He taps the wall there in the center of 1 and 2. He drives right up to the back end of the 33 of Wyatt Brackett. This is great stuff from Wyatt, but he's just a little bit slower. And I think just starting to hold these guys up a little bit. And it's marginally slower as well. He's got pace, but these guys just have that little bit more right now. And that's why they're getting up to him and beating and banging on the back end of that 33 car and just trying to get by. John Kinder finally got on by, and you see he's gapping the rest of those guys. That's why I say he's definitely holding them up a little bit. Not too much, but just enough that lap by lap here, they are losing a little bit of time. That's why Nicholas Naugle has started to gap on them.
Yeah, obviously you can tell that Brackett has the short run strategy going on there, but he just struggles there in the long run. Like you said, not too majorly to where it really falls off, but enough to where it's holding these guys up to allow Naugle to run away with it and hold these guys up to the point where it just costs him so much time. And that's what I'm talking about. Travis Miller, he's struggling to get the pass down on the bottom just because of where this setup runs. It's so hard to get it stuck on the bottom after running up on the high side for so long and how old these tires are. He's going to be stuck behind him for a while and have to hope for a mistake out of 33 because that's the only way he's going to get around him, or else he's going to be stuck behind him for quite a while. And we're just going to be seeing these three with each other for most of the majority of the race until a caution comes out.
Yeah, and you talk about one of the things about the high side is also the wall riding, which obviously is very much frowned upon in many forms of online motorsport racing.
Whoa!
Oh, look at Brackett. Oh, they're in the wall there. Wyatt Brackett got it all wrong coming out of the corner. Unfortunately, he tagged Travis Miller as well, so we're going to have to check out number 22 machine to see what damage could be on that car too. But that was a fairly substantial shunt there.
Going to watch the replay here. This is from Matt Grenier's perspective. You see the 33 car is going to get tight here in turn number 4 and just pound that outside wall on exit. Travis Miller was trying to go somewhere with it, and wow, this big checkup. Grenier tags him a little bit, but it really hurts the 22 car, puts him in the wall pretty hard, and now Grenier is going to have to try and fight up to that 22 in the wall again. So the 22 car getting very familiar with the outside retaining wall here at Bristol. We saw John Kinder get on by Wyatt Brackett. He's not really made any inroads on Nicholas Naugle's lead. Really, it's just the 08 car out to lunch.
Yeah, that's just a factor of how long Wyatt Brackett held those guys up and allowed that 08 to run that way with this. And now he has almost a 2-second advantage as we're closing in now on the halfway point of the All-Star race, which is, or let's just say, the second stage of it. as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. As I'm looking at Kendra, you see Naugle now completing lap number 36 as they approach. And there, but right now, most seem quiet around the racetrack. Not much happening other than some of the fights in the back of the field. Right now, everyone's just kind of in the middle of the run, waiting for a caution to come out as Winter, still trying to fight his way through this field.
Justin Winters has been charging, and he's been doing a good job of getting through them. Obviously, having the outside line here on Wyatt Brackett is what he is going to have as a significant advantage from being on the outside and being able to be right up alongside the wall, which is where this setup is running well for the current moment, and especially over the course of the run, it has been doing so. We're riding on board now and watching the number 2 machine out the front end of this car, and we're seeing if I don't know about Robertson. He's been making up some slowly making up some time, but not quite charging to the front like I had originally expected him to do. Not quite sure if maybe he did on purpose. He didn't start. He wanted to do a last to first challenge with this All-Star race and see if he could get to the front from the rear over the course of the run. We're only 40 laps in, so we're getting close to halfway, but I kind of expected a little bit more out of Robertson. Obviously, there's plenty of time left too for him to make some moves, though.
Scott Fritz currently 10th position. He started 9th. Or no, backwards. He started 10th. He's currently 9th. And so he's gained that 1 position, but he's got to try and get up to Brandon Robertson here. And speaking of Brandon Robertson, man, that is honestly so tragic for him that he ends up starting from the pit lane. His car was so good there in that first portion of this All-Star race, and he won that first little stage. The 2 car has been great at Bristol, even when we came here for the points race. I'm so surprised that issue happens for him. It really holds him out of this one. I think that's the defining moment for Brandon Robertson that is going to possibly cost him a chance at winning this race. He had to have kept that track position. Unfortunately did not, and now he's in 8th position, just kind of riding around. And actually, Nicholas Naugle might be closing in to put him a lap down.
Yeah, Robertson, Bristol just seems to be his Achilles heel. It's what cost him a shot at the championship when we were in the regular season, and then just that slight mistake. I don't know if there was maybe something up with Nick Mills. He just slapped. He slapped the pit wall on the inside and shot back up the racetrack. I don't know if he hit any of the leaders, but that was a gnarly hit for the number 8.
And that will bring out a yellow, which is going to reset the whole group of them, and presumably everybody's going to be coming in and getting tires and such. But we're checking out a replay right now to see what happened to this number 8 machine, the Bluegrass iRacing PitStop TV sponsored number 8 Chevrolet.
Oh, that's a hardware failure if I've ever seen one. That looks exactly like we saw what happened to Will Jones in the Scar Cup Series. The car just turns left.
Yeah, so that's gonna be at no fault of Nick Mills' own, just unfortunate circumstance of some of his hardware failure here. We'll see if we can see it from the inside of the car. You're riding on board with the number 8 out of turn 4, and wait for it here. Yeah, so I'm not sure. It's just that's tough.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
really
not.
tough
Maybe not, because he got back going pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was waiting for his steering wheel to just bear left absolutely instantaneously, or at least that's the usual situation. So I'm not really 100% sure what happened there, but certainly interesting. Brought out a yellow and resets this whole field as they come down pit road.
You see all these guys coming down the pit lane. I don't think anybody's going to stay out. Nobody does. All 9 cars left running come down the pit lane for 4 Mr. Feelgoods and some Sunoco race fuel. They're going to fill up, get 4 new Goodyear rubbers, and get back out there. Wyatt Brackett a little bit deep in his box, but it looks like it works out for him anyways. All the rest of these guys getting service to their cars as well. We'll see who makes it out of the pit lane first. Is it John Kinder right here? Did he pull another 2-tire strategy? No, it's just a really fast pit stop for him, and he's out of the pit lane first. Oh, but did he re-enter right there? No, okay, so I just made a mistake that you guys are making at Kentucky, where I look at the commitment box, and I'm used to that being what commits a driver to pit lane, and John was below it, but he didn't go below the iRacing commitment cone, and so he does not re-enter the pit lane. Imagine if he had, though. That would have been something.
Yeah, but now we're going to see John Kinder and Nicholas Naugle on the front row. We saw a little bit of timbers flying there at the end of the first the first stage there. So now they're going to have to restart with each other again. Hopefully, I expect them to keep it clean here, but you never know. With this being the All-Star race, they might race each other a little bit harder now. Travis Miller back there in the third position. Justin Winters now jumping up to the fourth. So we talked about this at Kentucky. Those two were unable to separate from each other the entire season when fighting for the championship. They're not even able to separate from each other when fighting for the All-Star race. They're going to be restarting back there on row 2. Matt Grenier and Adam Lancaster are going to restart back there in row number 3. And Brandon Robertson, that was a very timely caution for him. That puts him back into this race. Same for Wyatt Brackett, who is, I believe, the last currently lap. No, it's going to be Scott Fritz, the last currently lap, as Nick Mills is going to be our first retiree of the race, along with Wes Wiggin and Daniel Worthington.
Absolutely. And on this restart here, I think the ones to watch, if you will, Joe's ones to watch would be Nick Naugle on the inside. He's going to be aggressive and try to get that win because he's yet to get an official win credited to his name for this season. And also watch Brandon Robertson, because this is a great opportunity for that number 2 car to make up a lot of time and get back up to the front with the whole field stacked up like this. But we're coming out of turn 4, double filed up, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. And then Scott Fritz on the tail end as the green flag's back out. John Kinder might have jumped that start a little bit, but it looks like it might be clean. Justin Winter's got a great start on the outside as well. Nick Naugle is going to be falling back to third, so immediately showing that it's a tough race here, and these guys are fighting really hard to try to stay up front here. John Kinder, Justin Winters leading us back around as the green flag continues. We're finished with the first half of this All-Star event.
Scott Fritz around on the front stretch, going to bring the caution flag back out. Remember that John Kinder was the leader there at that restart, opted to take the outside line. We'll see what happens to Scott Fritz on this one. And he was the very last car of this group. 9th out of 9 still running. Yet something happens to this number 100. I wonder if he catches the wall here. Maybe some cold tires catching him off guard. There was a stack up. Oh, whoa. And you know what? That stack up is exactly why he goes around. Just got up on the brakes pretty hard. And of course, these guys do often run some rearward brake bias to get the car to rotate. I think that's the culprit here on this one. We're right on board.
Yeah, if you want to look at Travis Miller. He was really struggling this restart. He was having issues off of turn number 2, got loose, and then was just fighting demons the rest of the way around this racetrack, which is what ended up causing that, just trying to avoid the 22. And you're going to see right here, he tries to avoid it, get on the brakes, and then around he goes. Luckily, he didn't hit the 22, but he does hit that inside retaining wall, and not a whole lot of damage. He does flatten the nose. Doesn't look to be too much engine damage, so he's going to go down there, get the repairs, he's going to go back out there, but not the way that the 100 UNOH machine wants to run this after winning his way through the LCQ event into this race. But he is running a little strong, incident-free up till that point, but that's not how he wanted that to go at all. But how about Justin Winters on that restart? We've seen him running around in the back, fighting his way up here, and he jumped up to second there on this restart. Now he has a chance to come win this thing.
Yeah, Winters got a great restart, and he benefited from being on the outside line going through the corners, but obviously now he's going to be starting behind John Kinder in second, who we presume John Kinder is going to be trying to take the outside line once more. But yeah, he definitely put the time in and got himself back up there, being patient, just overcoming the length of the race and the trick of getting back up to the front from starting further back in the field. But Justin Winters, one of the drivers who's proven over the course of this season, he knows how to do that. And there are a lot of guys who have over the course of this season been adverse in situations like that where they need to get their cars back up to the front. Some of the others, including obviously like Nicholas Naugle, who's riding behind him, and Travis Miller, your season champion. That's a big component in doing well over the course of the entire season, is being adverse, being patient, be able to get your car back up to the front when something happens or you start off in a rough situation that you're not quite in the right position. So Justin Winters showing he's still got that and he's still using it going through this All-Star race.
So still got 9 cars in this one, and it's been a doozy so far for sure. We've seen all kinds of different things in this one. We've seen tempers flare. We've seen these guys run 2, 3, almost 4 wide at times. We've seen them throw slide jobs, throw blocks into the corners, trying to do bump and runs, everything that you could imagine at Bristol. These guys are not barring any holds. It's just go out there and try and win this race. Bring back the trophy or bring back the steering wheel, one of the two. John Kinder going to opt to keep his outside starting lane. They only ran about a lap at speed there on that restart before incidents up ahead, check up Scott Fritz and bring out a caution flag. And that number 100, I'm not so sure he's going to be able to keep pace anymore this evening. That was a very hard hit to the inside wall and is really going to hinder his chances this evening. But John Kinder still in the race. The leader, Justin Winters to his inside. We've got Nicholas Naugle, Adam Lancaster, Brandon Robertson, Matt Grenier, and some more. We've even got Travis Miller, Wyatt Brackett, the rest of these guys that are running, and Scott Fritz, of course, back there with that nose damage. Coming to the green flag, it's lap 57, now lap 58 of 100. John Kinder with another great restart. They battle side by side behind.
Kinder now with a great restart off of turn number 2. Winters holding on to second. Here comes Lancaster, who's involved in an early race accident at the first portion of the race. He now finds himself back up in the third spot as Naugle, again, stuck on the outs, on the inside. He's going to fall like a rocket. Out here, he is going to slide up in front of Travis Miller. So we're back to single file action as now Kinder going to try and outrun that number 88 to try and get it here as we now approach 40 laps to go here in the All-Star race.
You can see out of this bumper cam way back there, Travis Miller and Nicholas Naugle side by side, so they're still fighting for that 5th place position. And Travis Miller, if you remember, if you tuned in for the BRP iRacing series, the sponsor which is on the front of that car, Travis Miller's already got a win to his name from a live-streamed PitStop TV event this week. He was the winner of the BRP Fixed 360 race at Volusia. So obviously credit to him for pulling that victory off. He's trying to make it 2 wins this week on PitStop TV here with these broadcasts. But right now, sitting outside the top 5, trying to get up with Nicholas Naugle and make it at least back into the top 5 for this current moment. He is not quite where we would have expected him to be up front. But John Kinder, Justin Winters, 2 drivers who we've seen up front over the course of the entirety of the season as well. And Justin Winters just trying to peck away at what John Kinder has for this small amount of a lead he's holding right now on lap 63. But I'd be watching for Justin Winters to see if he's going to be able to hold onto those tires because he's trying to be a little aggressive right here, and maybe those tires wouldn't hold out quite as well. John Kinder, just run the long game, be patient, and get a little gap once that goes away for Justin Winters.
See these guys mostly spread out at this point. Brandon Robertson amidst the big battle with Adam Lancaster, Nicholas Naugle. This for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Nicholas Naugle, well, we saw him really dominate the early portion of this one, but now caught a little further back after a couple of restarts, trying to fight through the field, and John Kinder's got a leg up on everybody. He's got that better outside line, so Justin Winters, try as he might, can't quite get by that 21 car. It's just so advantageous to be ahead and be defending here at Bristol. Unless you can get a really big slide job off into the corner, it's going to be tough to pass.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to pass, but if anybody could do it, it could be Winters. Because he's been used to finishing in second quite a lot. He had a good string of second-place finishes late in the season. He finished second in the championship, so I doubt he's going to want to finish second here because that would be the icing on the cake to finish second in the All-Star race. So expect him to maybe have a little bit more oomph to try and get his Wyatt Brackett having some issues. He's pulling into the pit lane. He has the entire front nose ripped off that 33 machine. So big problems there for the 33 Red Bull Chevrolet Camaro, as they still fight on for the lead as Justin Winters trying to track down a 21. He's right on the bumper but can't do anything with it as of right now.
Yeah, and like we've been saying here, the tire degradation is a big factor in this. So as this run continues out, it'll be interesting to see whether Kinder or Winters holds on to those tires longer and gets that little advantage out of them. But a little bit of a wall ride there, sliding along the wall there for the 21 machine. And back through the corners again. You saw how much Justin Winters put in the front end of that turn and how much time he made up, but he lost it out of the corner. I think the momentum is what John Kinder is going to be searching for right now to try to stay in front of the 88. Because right now, Justin Winters is diving into the turns. Not quite as much as what we saw Noah Carmichael doing in the last chance qualifier to try to make up time, but he's certainly doing it. And John Kinder's able to run off of the corners and hold his lead down the front stretches here. Justin Winters got a little loose there, it looks like, but right now, Kinder's just trying to hold some momentum and carry out this lead.
Nearing the 3/4 mark in this second portion of the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race. And Justin Winters, we're on board with him here on the gyro cam, just trying to make up some time back to John Kinder. He's made a couple of moves to try and get by the 21 car, but nothing is stuck just yet. This nose-to-tail battle further back now changes up because Lancaster tags the wall out of 4. Here comes Travis Miller as Brandon Robertson gets clear of the 28 car. Naugle now to the bottom side of that Beer Lab Ford Mustang, Ghostface on the hood, and it's not working out for him right now. Pounds the wall a couple of times, drops back to 6th place.
Yeah, that fight was really starting to heat up there. A lot of the chrome horns being shown there with bumpers being fed. The Naugle gave it to Robertson. Robertson gave it to Lancaster. Miller's just riding back there watching it all happen. So these guys are starting to get fed up, and they're making moves to try and get this done because they've already lost about 2 seconds on the race leader. So they're going to start making moves to try and close the thing up unless the caution comes out, because these guys need to get this thing going if they want to have a shot to win.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at still just a little under 25 laps to go here. Now it's going to be 22 to be exact, 22 laps remaining in this one. But we're at Bristol, so these are fast laps, are very short tracks. Only a half mile. I don't know why I almost said a quarter mile. A half mile track here. So the laps are just going to tick away very quickly, and the go time's going to be soon. Brandon Robertson, actually, you see how much he's pushing right now. He got right up into the wall there out of turn number 4. So that's unfortunately going to put a bunch of damage onto the side of the 2 machine, which he did not need right now, because he's in 3rd place, was trying to track down the 21 and 88, but that kind of situation, that kind of thing, and that mistake is what you don't need. Oh, we got a yellow. Okay, so this is going to get really interesting. Scott Fritz brings out another caution with 20 to go.
I'm not really sure where this yellow is. Scott Fritz is just the furthest back. We'll see if it involves the 100 car. And it's going to take a second to get to that point where the yellow flag actually comes out, but everybody was mostly orderly.
According to Jason Collins, this is a competition.
Yes. You know what? This is a comp yellow. I recall now. This was planned. It was the stage end technically at lap 50 of 150. We had that little switch with the heat. We went on then into technically the feature, but it's all one race. And then we had this comp yellow at 50. I recall now. We have notes for a reason, don't we? But John Kinder's the race leader. Justin Winters 2nd place. Brandon Robertson 3rd. Nicholas Naugle 4th. Travis Miller in 5th position.
Yeah, this is going to get real interesting now, because what we saw after they got around the number, trying to remember who it was, the number 20 of Lancaster, once Robertson and Naugle and Miller got around them, they started hauling it. They closed about a second within 5 laps, and they were getting ready to close in on them. So now we're really going to see a fight break out in our hands between this top 5, because this is far from over with 20 laps left in this race.
Yeah, so these 8 drivers who are still in contention right here on the lead lap, they're going to come around into their respective pit boxes here. And I don't know, we'll see what happens if there's any pit stop strategy. Everybody's going to want to try to take as many tires as possible. I think we've got too many laps left to be doing anything crazy on pit road. But the race off pit road will definitely be a factor in the restart, obviously with everybody's starting positions being decided by how they come out of pit lane here. But it'll be interesting to see if John Kinder gets to get out again, and if the front runners are going to see how they run when Travis Miller's leaving his pit box. So your race leader coming out of the box is going to be the 22 machine. That's a really interesting strategy call.
And the race off the pit lane for the rest of these guys goes to John Kinder. Justin Winters is the next one out, and then it's Brandon Robertson, Nicholas Naugle. Really shaking things up here are these fine gentlemen. Travis Miller looks like a 2-tire pit stop for him. He is going to exit first and have our race lead. Let's bring a driver in. We haven't talked to a single driver all evening long unless you count Noah Carmichael. Let's bring in... Tell you what, let's bring in Scott Fritz. We'll talk to him. No, we'll hand it over to you.
Well, Scott, you made it in here through a fine LCQ win against Jack Bauer. Now you come in here and you're bringing it to the back. How's it been trying to run up here with these lead pack here tonight?
Yeah, it's been fun. I'm getting too tight. I feel like I'm burning my right front off too early, but other than that, it's been a good race so far. I got some damage on the nose, I think it's affecting me a little bit, but other than that, I think we're pretty good.
we were talking a little bit about the setup. The thing I experienced was you start off loose on exit of the corner, and then in the middle of the run, it really starts to settle in, but towards the end of the half, it falls off like a cliff. Is somewhat what you're experiencing with how this setup's been handling so far?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It falls off about a second after about 10 laps.
And what would you say to how challenging is it to pass around here? Because once you get into that rhythm, what I experience is once you're on the top side, it's so hard to try to get stuck on the bottom. How are you trying to figure it out here?
Yeah, basically you can really only make passes easily in the first about 10 laps of a run. You can turn down other people, but once it gets up by the top, it's really hard to get around people.
All right, as we go green here, I'll let you go back up there. Hopefully you get to talk to you later on tonight.
All right, thank you.
Green, green, green.
And that was Scott Fritz in the 8th position. I mean, his night has not been all that great since transferring in. It's certainly not been the night that he was hoping for, but up front, Travis Miller leading the... Oh, John Kinder! He's not on 2 tires, but he's going to go around to the center of the corner. Is he going to hang on to it? Maybe no. John Kinder parked out of turn 4, and we have a wreck further ahead. Adam Lancaster involved, and I think Scott Fritz might have... Nope, Scott Fritz, we were literally just talking to him, and he's going to get wadded up even more in this one. Let's see what all happens here. We're going to start off with John Kinder and see what happens to him. Man, what a restart.
Yeah, both those teammates going to get taken out in that. What it looks to be is exactly what we're talking to Scott about. On these fresh tires, when you're on the bottom of the racetrack, it gets so loose, and that was what happened in the 21. He's on the bottom, tire spin happens, he keeps out the barrier, but shoots right back up the racetrack, and then the exact same thing happens to Lancaster, except he clobbers the number 100 UNOH Chevrolet and takes him out along with him. Not too much damage onto either, but obviously a night that has not been going well for the 100 goes even worse. He has more wadded up corners on number 100, as now we're back under caution, which is good. Not too good news for Travis Miller, who pulled out 2 tire strategies. Now he's going to defend off Brandon Robertson.
Yeah, that was tough there, and you just saw the way when Kinder went into the corner, the car got upset, and the weight balance of it on those fresher, colder and smoother tires for him into the corner, and that just carried the whole way through the corner. But Lancaster with a little bit different scenario, and the way that the car got offset coming out of the turn, obviously the two of them both sliding down the front stretch by the end of it didn't really make any difference in the long run of what went down, but a little bit of a different situation causing both of those cars to be spinning here. But we have reached 10 to go. We're under yellow right now from that combination of spinning cars. We're going to go ahead and bring another driver in. We're going to pull up another interview here.
And it's Nicholas Naugle, who has had a great run this evening. Nicholas, you dominated the early portions here at Bristol in this latter portion of the race, if you will, the 100-lap stretch. You dominated it earlier on, getting 37 laps led, and then what has happened here under these cautions?
I got shuffled around. I forgot about the lane choice, so I kind of let Kinder get me in the pits that first shot, so I thought I'd have outside lane, but then I forgot about lane choice. So it is what it is. I mean, still fast, not too concerned about it, just biding time. 10 to go now. Now it's time to push.
What's it going to take here to get you up there? What's it going to take to get that 08 fighting for a win?
Really, it's just going to be survive the next 4 laps and then push hard to get to the front. I'm not going to say I'm not going to make any friends here. I'm not going to be aggressive, but, I mean, it is $1 million to win, right?
Not quite. A few less zeros here. You mentioned you might not make friends here. What happened with John Kinder earlier?
He was blinking all over the place, and when I got to him and under him, he just kind of blinked too much around me, and I guess I got up into him a bit.
Well, there you have it. So Nicholas Naugle going to try and get back up there and fight for a race win. Nicholas, best of luck to you. Bring home the trophy or the steering wheel.
Thank you very much.
That's Nicholas Naugle running in the number 08, and man, it's going to be tough for him to get out there. He is restarting 4th right here, though, on this restart, coming to 8 laps to go momentarily. So Nicholas not out of it just yet, but if I had to bet on somebody, it would be that 2 car. Brandon Robertson down to the bottom side. Sure, he's in the worst lane for this restart, but he's been so quick here at Bristol, back in the points race, and this evening here for the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star race at Bristol Bristol Motor Speedway. Coming to the restart, coming to 8 laps to go. Travis Miller leads us across the start-finish line. Actually, a great restart for Robertson, but he has to give that lead back to Travis Miller. Now they'll fight through turn 2.
Miller going to get the advantage coming off of turn number 2 as they send off into 3. Robertson, we know he has the speed to get it done. So does Naugle, so it's going to be very interesting to see. He talked about not making too many friends and not trying to run too aggressive, but we're under 10 to go now, so it's go time to try and get this thing done as our Naugle will try and run down the 2 car to take a chance for the win.
Well, look at Travis Miller just running it out right now, and we saw him take 2 tires to get out front on the pit stop, and obviously if we would have stayed green from that first run, if Kinder and Lancaster hadn't had their issues, I think it would have been much worse off for the number 22 car. But you can see how much Brandon Robertson and Nicholas Naugle are able to gain on him right now. But one of the things we've talked about all night long is making that pass when the high side is the preferred line. You have to do something kind of crazy. You have to go down to the inside, try to make a pass, and that's what's going to hold up these 2 Toyotas behind Travis Miller as they continue to tick these laps off and the opportunities to see or get that word didn't come out right. But as the 2 Toyotas start coming up and Nick Naugle hit the wall there, but yeah, just being able to block the top side is what Travis Miller needs to do to get the win here.
I'm very surprised by the 2-tire call working for Travis Miller. He's got to go 2.5 more laps. He's got to defend on the number 2 car of Brandon Robertson. The New Englander is really putting the pressure here on the number 22 of Travis Miller. He's got a win to his credit. He's even got a championship to his credit in the last week. Robertson knocking on the door, just getting that 22 loose. Here comes the Nova Scotia driver, Nicholas Naugle. Hits Brandon Robertson. He somehow saves that car. Oh my gosh, they slide out of turn 4 and they're taking their chance away. Robertson digs, he tries to get Naugle, he does, but up ahead Travis Miller is going to get separated from everybody, and right at the end, much like Kentucky, Travis Miller wins the All-Star race.
Miller wins, Robertson spins because he did get the bumper given to him by the 88 down the back straightaway, and he's going to finish P last. So history repeats itself and he loses it at Bristol after having such a good run. And Miller with a 2-tire strategy.
Whoa, we got tempers in the front stretch. Nobody's happy with this 08.
Well, he talked about it. He wasn't going to make too many friends during the last restart, and he did, and he made a lot of drivers upset. So it's not too much of a surprise. He knew what he was getting himself into. He tried to run away from the 28, but the 28 is going to find him eventually.
Yeah, temper's definitely flaring. Is that just a replay of what happened there? As you see, so this is in the later stages of that, but this was when Robertson had gotten passed back by Nicholas Naugle. Again, you saw how much Robertson. Oh, see, he lost it on his own there, but that's just a result and a consequence of sliding through all these corners like this. The 2 Toyotas were all over each other, and this was actually a really great save right there from Nicholas Naugle. You saw him sideways coming down the front stretch, and yeah, that's just tough because these guys are racing each other really hard to be in a position to win the race. And once they get side by side like that, obviously they're not going to be giving up and they're going to fight each other pretty hard. And that's what basically gave Travis Miller that advantage there. Is you see a nice little burnout celebration here between Grenier and Miller on the front stretch.
Incredible stuff. I'm still a little bit confused as to what we just saw, but it really works out pretty darn well for Travis Miller, I'd say. It didn't always look like he was even going to be contending for this race win, honestly. He was out of this thing multiple times throughout this All-Star race, yet he comes back and wins. It's just incredible what he has been able to do as of late. Comes from behind, wins at Kentucky, takes home the championship despite being 4 back going into that one. Earlier this week, Monday night for the BRP iRacing series, he actually almost dominated that thing. He was up there in the running all evening long, but it wasn't always looking like he was going to win even that one. He was put back into second and third a couple of times, came back, won that as well. This evening, I don't know where the 22 car was earlier on in this day, but comes back and wins the All-Star race at Bristol in incredible fashion as well. What an evening of racing. And that is a proper way to cap off a season. We've got post-race interviews just ahead. Don't go anywhere. We've got our little post-race break, and then we've got a post-race set of coverage to talk to these drivers. And, man, you are not going to want to miss what these drivers have to say after that one. We'll be right back with post-race coverage from Bristol of the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Well, we just saw an interesting race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It was the Bluegrass iRacing Series All-Star Race, the proper send-off to their first season of competition, and you just saw some beating and banging, some proper Bristol finishing to just an incredible evening of racing all night long. These guys were really testing one another and definitely, I think, testing some tempers as well, as we saw especially come to a precipice there at the end of this all-star race. Let's get right into it. Let's talk to race winner Travis Miller. And Travis, we're getting more and more used to talking to you here on PitStop TV. You come from behind to win the championship at Kentucky. You come from behind to win the All-Star race here at Bristol. What's next for you in that number 22 crew?
I'm not too sure. I think my luck's about to run dry here. I mean, it's got to be, because I just keep getting lucky, and I think it's got to be running out sooner or later.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting way to take this one. Was that a two-tire call there at the end as well?
Yeah, it was a two-tire call for the race that I took two, and it was the only way I was going to get track position. I knew that the only way I was going to be able to hold off anything to even get like a top three was if a caution came out, and it did. But we took two in the heat race, and I accidentally took left sides instead of right sides, and I was just so tight. I just fell right through the back of the field. It was I couldn't drive it. It was so bad. But yeah, we were able to persevere, I guess.
We were all surprised by the two-tire calls, both in that earlier 50-lap heat and the 100-lap main event. I didn't think it was going to work out, if I'm being entirely honest, especially the way your car was it was forward, then it was back, forward and back. It was kind of in between this evening. It really seemed like those Toyotas had the field covered. But in the end, how was it to race those guys? I mean, Nicholas Naugle even said in his little interview right before the end that he wasn't looking to make friends, he just wanted to win this thing, and you had to navigate all of that as they were breathing down your neck on those final few laps.
Yeah, I mean, I think Naugle hit about every single thing except for the concession stand. But it's the last race of the year, and you're going. The winner gets $100, and second pays nothing. So I mean, you might as well try and make it worth your while. And then everybody has all off season to cool their heads. But it was fun racing with everybody. In the beginning of the run, everybody was pretty consistent, and I just couldn't save my tires well enough like the rest of the guys could. So we just had to settle for what we could get there. And that's the only reason I took two tires was. I wasn't going to gain the track position racing with him, so I just did it on the pit stop, and it worked out with Naugle getting to the back of Brandon there. I think if he didn't, Brandon would have won that race easily. He would have moved me out of the way, but that's racing, and we came on the good end of it.
All right, so if your luck is just continuing to pour in, what are the next Powerball numbers?
I'm not too sure. If I knew, I'd be buying everybody a Stacker trailer and a brand new house. So that's about it.
Well, Travis, it's yet another big win for you and the number 22 BRP iRacing Series in Gaston's Auto Sales Ford Mustang team. I already gave you a couple of plugs right there, but who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out this evening?
Yeah, I just got to thank the BRP iRacing Series for all they do for me on and off the track. If you're looking for a good dirt league to get into, that's definitely the one for you. And I just got to thank Gaston's Auto Sales, Precision Auto Clinic, my parents for watching the races, even though they got to go to bed and work the next day. Bricknell Racing Products, MDR Designs for pumping out this all-star wrap with about 2 hours before it started. So I got to thank Matt from MDR Designs and Splash and Go Graphics and you guys for putting this on. It was real fun, and thanks to Jason for the year.
Well, thank you so much for your time here this evening and through a lot of the season, Travis. Best of luck to you when we come back at Daytona here in just a couple of months, and best of luck to you as well on Monday night.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
That's Travis Miller, the All-Star Race winner. Noah, bring in Nicholas Naugle.
Well, Nicholas, you told us in your in-race interview that you weren't going to make too many friends out there. It doesn't seem you really did, seeing how many people weren't too happy with you after the post-race. Take us through that final restart there.
We were a little further back on that final restart than I would have liked to be, but I mean, the car was good all night, I won't lie. I wasn't too concerned about it. I got to those last two cars there, and I was trying to make a move under the both of them at once, and once I slid it in under, I knew it wasn't going to stick, unfortunately, but it is Bristol, what can I say?
You were fast all night, and you were able to keep it up front there. How was it trying to tackle these drivers and fend off all the drivers that you had to be able to run up here and take that P2 finish?
All the boys were really strong tonight. It was a good time racing. I wasn't too concerned about much, but it was hard. The biggest thing here was you got to run so tight to that outside wall to get the run off the corner, and them boys really didn't want to give it up off the corner, so you'd have to get in under them and just kind of ride there and see what you can make work.
And with this being the final race of the first season now, what would you have to say is kind of the highlights looking back of your season 1 campaign as you get set for season 2?
There was a lot of good times. I raced up front with a lot of boys, ran on a bunch of tracks that I've never turned laps on. We had that win a couple weeks ago. That was a good one. No matter how it finished, I mean, we know how it finished. It was pretty good. It was just good. Got fast at all the places that I never thought I'd run at.
And then one last time before I let you go here, who do you have to thank for this entire first year season you had?
First off, I gotta thank Jason Collins and Nick Mills for putting this on. I mean, it's an awesome series. And then I gotta thank my sponsors, Brycon, Mobile One, like everyone on the car, just for letting us do this every week.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on a P2 finish. Congratulations on an incredible season. Hopefully we see more out of you in season 2 when we come back here.
For sure. You guys have a good off season.
You do. All right, and that's going to be our second place finisher, Nicholas Naugle. And then last up, I'm going to give it to Joe, who should have Matt Grenier.
Well, the final of your podium finishing drivers, certainly not least, Mr. Matt Grenier, the New Englander. Do you got a copy here?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
All righty, Matt. I got you loud and clear. So I want to start off with the beginning stages of this race, Matt, because we've talked about with Noah the way that this car runs over the course of the run and the tire fall off. You were fast all night. How did you keep that car up at the front throughout the entirety of the 100 laps of this second stage here?
Well, the beginning part of the race was the longer run. I wanted to be fast and up front. I wanted to lead, but I kind of settled in. I thought it'd probably be a better play to just kind of ride around, don't burn up your stuff, and hope the others do. And maybe that would give us a little bit of advantage to stay up front a little bit.
Right on. And so, as on screen for the viewers at home, they're seeing the replay of one of the most exciting things we've seen all season here, and especially tonight. You had probably the best seat in the house watching the two Toyotas go after it at the end of this race. Talk us through what you saw about Brandon Robertson versus Nick Naugle and how that played into you, obviously taking the third place finish here tonight.
Yeah, those guys were fast all night. I got to be honest, I don't know if I would have been able to do anything with them if I had been able to get to them because they were just that strong. Coming in, I mean, I know coming into those last few laps there, it's kind of, at this point, it's winner take all. So I had a feeling, there could be a little contact, and I was just back enough where I was kind of hoping if that took place, I could scoot under them. I got lucky, I did, and we took third.
Well, that's just part of the game, is being patient and making the right moves. And that's part of the whole season, too. And I want to ask you about your entire season. You've had some high points, some low points. You've had some good finishes coming out of season 1 for this Bluegrass iRacing series. Hopefully you're looking forward to season 2, but what did you think as a whole for your run throughout the course of the season?
I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. Coming into it, I was really excited about it. It's the first league I got into, and I picked a pretty good one to start, I'd say. So, there were definitely some high points. There are going to be some low points. That's going to happen. It's part of racing. Hopefully, I can apply what I've learned this year. Definitely learned a ton to next year, and keep all those the few mistakes that I did have, keep those to a minimum, and turn those bad finishes into good finishes, and that will, keep me up top with the boys running up front.
Absolutely, and hopefully some collaboration with others and everything. We'll start talking to you more often as season 2 comes to us. But before we let you go for the night, Mr. Grenier, we're going to give you the stage, let you say thank you, or give any shout outs you might have for not only your run tonight, but for your entire season. Anybody you want to thank here on the broadcast?
Yeah, first and foremost, Bluegrass iRacing Series. I got to thank Jason and Nick. They've done a heck of a job this year. Through the highs and lows, and couldn't be happier to be a part of it and get on to season 2. I obviously got to thank my team and David Brackett, Wyatt Brackett, and then Brandon Robertson. We put a ton of time in running with Brandon. As long as I have, he's really helped me a whole lot. So only good things to come there. Got to give a quick shout out to my parents. They watch every race, and they're huge supporters of myself and everyone, just what we're doing. So I got to thank them. Got to thank my buddy Eric Knutinen, old friend of mine. He watches most of the races too. So we usually get text messages during the race, so I can't really read it, but he's watching. So and then of course you guys at PitStop TV do a great job and make this exciting. So I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, we appreciate it, Matt. You had a strong car all through the night. Fitting to get third place. Obviously, the situation that got you there was a little out of your control, but hey, luck falls where it does, and some get it, some don't. So congratulations on third place here in the All-Star race to round out the Bluegrass iRacing Series Season 1 and the All-Star race itself. Hopefully you have a good night. Thanks for joining us, and good luck in Season 2.
Yep. Thanks, guys. You too.
And that's going to round out your final podium finishing driver interviews for Season 1, Andrew.
And what a season it was. We talked about it. From Daytona to Kentucky, this thing was insane all season long. We had great races at Atlanta, Richmond, Charlotte, Indianapolis, Pocono, Darlington, Bristol, Talladega, the Roval, Martinsville. Everything in between. Just insane racing, and a lot of great memories made along the way. A lot of great highlight reels can come from this first season of Bluegrass iRacing Series competition. Great stuff through and through. A lot of great drivers that are making their way up the ranks of iRacing in the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Can't wait to see who challenges for a championship next season. But before we get all that far, let's go ahead and look through our race results. Noah, take it away.
Finishing P1 here tonight is your season champion, the number 22 of Travis Miller. Finishing P2 is made the 08 of Nicholas Naugle. In third is going to find the 15 of Matt Grenier. Fourth, you're going to find your championship runner-up, Justin Winters. Rounding out your top five is going to be the 21 of Johnny Kinder. Sixth is where you're going to find Adam Lancaster. Seventh, on back is where you're going to find Brandon Robertson. Scott Fritz rebounds to the 8th position, and then White Bracket finishes out 9th with Nick Mills rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, that's also going to include Daniel Worthington and Wes Wiggins, who did not actually start this 100-lap portion of the event, but we had 7 cars get to the end on the lead lap. 4 of them did not finish the race, and then just ended up as so. So congratulations once more to Travis Miller on our behalf. That was a pretty exciting race to the end. Big strategy moves, and even just the patience and perseverance to get into that position, to have the smart call to take 2 tires on that pit stop and stay out front. A little bit of luck fell on his side too, but I definitely think that all played in favor to him deserving to be the All-Star race winner.
Yeah, it's crazy how it all ended up working out for Travis Miller to get that championship, to get this race win for the All-Star race. It all just kind of worked in his favor. Before we close out the Bluegrass iRacing Series season, want to thank series partners Rims One and Ghostface Brewing Company, both out of Mooresville, North Carolina. They both paid out $20 each this evening to the transfers from the Last Chance Qualifier, Nick Mills and Scott Fritz. They've been great partners, paying out rewards to each halfway leader since they came on board at Darlington, as well as each hard charger, and that's the guy who needs a beer each race, presented by Ghostface Brewing Company. Rims One presents that halfway leader each and every time. Want to thank them for their support. Want to thank the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Also want to thank, of course, our partners here at PitStop TV. Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and they will custom create a beautiful framed high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. This product is amazing, and I truly mean it. You know, it's one of those things that you don't think you need at first, but it really is really cool to have on your wall. You can take any moment from your life that means something incredibly important to you, put it up on your wall, living room wall, bedroom wall, foyer, who knows what you want to do with it. And the benefit is that it plays music as well. It's a great looking piece. It plays music, so it sounds great as well. It's incredible that you don't really think you need it until you find out about it, and it's just a cool concept in general. Very cool stuff. You can use code PitStopTV at checkout for 10% off of your order. We also want to thank, of course, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, because when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. In a Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Boyer, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. Contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. They're based in Auburn, they're based in Lewiston, they're based in Harrison. Those are their 3 locations. Check them out up in the great state of Maine. We also want to thank, of course, Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization, specializing in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services like photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. That concludes our coverage tonight and for the season of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us again Saturday evening, Halloween 2020, for the USRA American Le Mans Series at Detroit Belle Isle, again on Monday for the BRP iRacing Series at Lernerville, and for the Northwest GT3 Challenge at Monza. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/C/PitStopTV1. For all of PitStop TV, Noah Carmichael and Joe Donahue on the mic with me. We've got Trey Shuttlesworth on social media coverage. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and for PitStop TV, have a great night. We will see you next time.